Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all 33 books I read in 2024. I was writing them all out on a notebook and then I realized that's a lot of writing for me. So I'm just going to use my phone. So let's get started. So we're going to scroll all the way down. I am going to try and give like a brief little summary of each book that I read, and then if I have a rating for it, I will obviously share my rating for you and I will put pictures up somewhere of the book. So the first book is Nero, Alliance, book number 1 in the series by S.J. Tilley. I did not give it a rating. This is a common theme throughout 2024 for me where like I just did not give books ratings. Don't ask me why, I must have just not been in the mood. So the book description is Peyton, running away from home at 17 wasn't easy. Let's face it though, nothing before or even in the 10 years since has been easy for me. I'm doing okay, sorta. I just need to keep scraping by, living under the radar, staying out of people's way, off people's minds. So when a man walks through my patio door, stepping boldly into my home and my life, I should be scared, frightened, terrified. But I must be more broken than I realize because I'm none of those. I'm intrigued. And I'm wondering if the way to take control of my life is by giving in to him. This is Nero's part, sorry. Nero. The first time I took a man's life, I knew there was no going back, no normal existence in the cards for me. So instead of walking away, I climbed a mountain of bodies and created my own destiny. By forming the alliance, I was with that, content enough to carry on until I stepped through those open doors into her life. I should have walked away, should have gone right back out the door I came through, but I didn't, and now her life is in danger. But that's the best thing about being a bad man. I'll happily paint the streets red to protect what's mine, and Peyton is mine whether she knows it or not. I gave it no stars. There's no rating. So, that's the first book. Okay, the next book I read was Denotate by Luna Mason, which is the second book in Beneath the Mask series, but I read it out of order. You don't need to read the series in order to like understand what's going on in my opinion, because I did it. I did give the book 5 stars, so this is my first rating of 2025. The book description is 7 years ago, I left the special forces in my home after a tragic betrayal. Stop. I carefully constructed a new life in New York. I thought I had it all. A world-famous boxing trainer by day, a mafia hitman by night, free to live in the darkness, to do what I trained to do, to kill. I finally felt free. But one kiss was all it took to shatter the life I knew. The woman who hated my guts scaled the walls I built around my black heart, my ray of sunshine. Just when I believed I could have it all, my life blows up right before my eyes. I know how far I'm willing to go to fight for her, but can she truly love someone who could never give her the fairy tale she so desperately deserves? Because I can't read. Maddie. I was sick of being the family disappointment, the one who could never get a man to stick around, so I kissed a lot of frogs to try and find my prince. Instead, I fell in love with the villain, the last man on earth I thought I could ever love. He might call me sunshine, but I crave his darkness. I wasn't meant for his world, but he took me anyway, and I never wanted to leave. Sometimes life doesn't give you a choice. Could I give up on my search when I have a monster offering me the world, even if loving him puts us both in danger? Woo! Okay, like I said, 5 stars. Moving on, that was book 2. We got this. Book 3 that I read was The Devil's Den, and it's by Penny D. I gave it 4 stars. So we're on a roll with the like ratings here. Nico de Casa. We're gonna go with Casa. Cold, detached, ruthless, and my new husband. I don't want to marry the despicable mafia don, but my father made a deal with the devil, and lucky for me, I'm the currency. If I leave, he'll destroy my father's fortune, but if I stay, he'll obliterate my heart. Because in this union, the lines between love and hate are blurred. So blurred. He's a cold-blooded monster with ice in his veins, frost in his heart, but in bed, Nico burns like a wildfire, and in the heat of the night, I begin to forget why I hate the mobster. I'm trapped in a world I despise, with a man too wicked to fall for, yet I can't leave. Maybe if I knew it was coming, it would be easier to run. And like I said, I gave that one 4 stars. If I remember anything about these books, I will share my opinions, but right now I don't have any. Next book is Havoc at Prescott High by C.M. Stooch. I'm not pronouncing that right, but let's read the book description. There's one word you don't utter at Prescott High, not unless you want them to own you. I should have stopped right there, but I didn't, girl. Havoc. Hale, Aaron, Victor, Oscar, and Callum. The Havoc boys rule the hellhole that we call Prescott High. Once upon a time, they ruled me. For an entire year, I endured their shit. But senior year is going to be different. This year, I own them. I made a pact with the Havoc boys to get vengeance I deserve. Their price, me. At their beck and call, in their beds, part of their gain, their girl, a Havoc girl. These boys, those dirty rotten boys, are going to get their revenge against everyone that wronged me. Everyone but themselves. There's no right. Moving on! Next book we have is Ruthless Heart by Roxy Salone. I gave it 4 stars. Let's see. Book description. He was the boy I loved. Now he's the man who wants me. Dead. Nero Bacarti is a mafia prince, ruthless, revered, and a man who controls my fate. For 10 years I've been running from our past. Now there's no escape. To save my family, I'll risk it all. An impossible bargain. An unstoppable passion. There's a thin line between hate and desire. And I give that one 4 stars. It's also part of a series. It's book 1 of the Ruthless series. The 6th book I read in 2024 was Chaos at Prescott High, which is book 2 of the Havoc boys, which I already talked about that. So the book description is there's one gang you don't piss off at Prescott High, not unless you want them to destroy you. The Havoc boys, my enemies turn friends, turn lovers. These boys have never been saint. But this war, what's brewing is resurrecting their inner demons. Once upon a time, I was their target. This time, I'm calling the shots. Senior is my year. This year, I'm going to bring down my enemies. It's literally like the same thing as the other book. There's no rating. I just was not impressed with that series. I can tell you that straight up, like right now, my opinion of that book series is I was not impressed. It took me 7 books to get impressed in 2024, and that book was When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. That is such a phenomenal book. I gave it 4 stars, only because I was bored at the beginning. Don't hate me, I was bored. It kept drowning on in my brain. I was like, please make it stop, but then it got good, so we're fine. So, like I said, 4 stars. I'm not gonna read the summary. I'm sorry, I can't read summaries. This is embarrassing to read out loud. So essentially, just to like, it's about dragons, it's about fantasy world, magic. This girl who like goes and kills people, and yeah, it's good, just read it. And I have the Fairy Loot edition, and it's so pretty. Let me show you if I can reach it. I mean, look at those dragons. Like, you can't tell me you don't want to read it. You can't tell me you don't want to read it. After I read When the Moon Hatched, I read Skin of a Sinner by Ivana St. Grace. I gave that 3 stars. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Next book I read was Toxic by Nicole Blanchard. I also gave that 3 stars. As you can tell, I was in a Kindle Unlimited book reading mood in 2024. Yeah, I don't really have, I don't have opinions about that book either. And then we get to this book. It's Hitched by Lauren Bell. I could not finish it. It was my first DNF of 2024. I could not finish it. I gave it 2 stars, but it was weird. It was so weird. Whoever recommends that book, rethink your life choice. That book was weird. No, don't read that. Then we have Once You're Mine by Morgan Bridges, which is book 1 in the Possessing Her series, and I also read Now You're Mine, which is book 2 in that same series. I did not give those books a rating. For some reason, my book summaries are in Spanish. So, I mean, what I can tell you, it's like a morally gray hero, a stalker. It has touch her or die energy and like willing to do whatever for her. You know, just the good tropes that we love. Which is why I read it, but I don't have any opinions. 2024 was a year of the lack of the opinions when it came to reading books. Now I have Psycho Shifters by Jasmine Moss or Mass. I don't know how you guys say it anymore. I gave that 3 stars. It's about this girl who is a shifter who can turn into a monster. And she has 6'5" roommates that are covered in tattoos and jeweled up, and they have horns. And it's a slow burn. On here it says the heat level is high spicy. It's a reverse harem, and it's on the Megaverse, so that's why I read it and I gave it 3 stars. Don't hate me for my rating. Okay. There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. Sinner's #1 book. I haven't read the second book. I gave it 3 stars. I'm not gonna read the second book. Yeah. I wasn't impressed, and that was my first Sophie Lark book, and I know a lot of people are like, it's so popular, like read it, and then I'm like, okay, I read it, and now I'm just a disappointed girly pop. Okay, if I can count, the 16th book I read in 2024 is called Bonded by Thorns, which is Beasts of the Blair series, book #1 by Elizabeth Helen. I gave that 4 stars, okay. 4 beastly princes, 1 awkward bookworm. It's a world of fae. Ignore my dog. Magic and danger. Girly pop, of course I read this book. And then I read the next one. So book 17, Woven by Gold. 3 stars. Yeah. And then I decided I was going to start something new. Okay, I was tired of all these like spicy books that I've been disappointed by constantly. So I'm like, I'm going to read a series of unfortunate events. I listened to them. I didn't read them. There's that for you. So we have The Bad Beginning. #1, 5 stars. I loved it. I loved it. And honestly, I want to say, listening to it is so much better than reading it. Like, take my advice. Take my advice, okay? So like I said, 5 stars. And then I read The Sinner, which is Lords #2 by Chantel Tesser. 3 stars. It was good. It was good, okay? But it was not 4-star worthy in my brain. But it was still good, and I'll still remember it. You know what I'm saying? Then we have A Series of Unfortunate Events, book #2, which is The Reptile Room. I also gave that 5 stars. We have The Wide Window, book #3 in A Series of Unfortunate Events, 3 stars. I just was not impressed. I'm not. I don't know. I didn't like that one. We have The Miserable Mill, book #4. I also gave that 3 stars. It was weird. I have The Austere Academy, which is book #5. That was also weird for me, so I gave it a 3 stars. These books are supposed to be weird and uncomfortable and about death, so like, I knew that. I was expecting that, and literally at the beginning of every single book, Lemony Snicket, he tells you to stop and close the book, turn around or something like that, because it's a sad story. So I knew it was going to be weird from the beginning, so don't come at me. Okay, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, Letters of Enchantment #1. I gave that 5 stars, but I do not hate me for this. I will not be reading book 2. It was 5-star worthy, but I just did not appreciate it and love it enough to read the next book. So I will not be reading Ruthless Vows. Then we have A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed, and this one hurt my soul, okay? It hurt my soul because this was like a 2024 anticipated book for me, okay? I read it, I gave it 2 stars. So let's talk about this because I actually did read a review for this one. I wanted to love it. I really did. I have a couple of issues with it. In some parts, I felt like I was drowning reading the book, waiting for it to pick up, while in other parts, I wish it was expanded upon. It was kind of boring, which is why it took me so long to finish it. I started in July I finished it in September. So, do I think I will read the next book? Probably not, to be honest. I picked this book up because I thought it was going to be interesting. I do want to give out a shout out to the author, which is literally in my review. The pre-order items were very, very cool, and I appreciate them, and you could tell that she put so much like thought into them. And I'm trying to find the book for you. Hold on. Dog ate the cover. So there was like electronic pre-orders, and then there was physical pre-orders. So I got this little envelope, okay? Very cute, matches the book theme. Inside of it, I have some not tarot cards, playing cards of the characters. That's what the back looks like. And this little art thing. And then I had this sticker that was signed by her name. And then there's like electronic stuff that they emailed me that I have on my phone that I'll keep forever. So like I really do think she put a lot of effort into this pre-order items, which I really truly appreciate it. But like I didn't like the book, so I'm not going to be reading the next book. Dark Window, which is book 1 in the Shepherd King series by Rachel Gilling. If I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. I gave it 1 star. Yes, I am that person. I gave it 1 star. I stopped reading at chapter 12. I really wanted to get into it, but I could not. By the time I got to chapter 12, you guys, I was skipping pages. Like, I was literally skimming through paragraphs just to try and get to, like, a good spot, maybe to, like, get back into the book, but I stopped after chapter 12. Okay, the next book I read was Fairytale by Veronica Lancet. When people tell you you go on TikTok and you're trying to find all these, like, spicy, good book recommendations, or just book recommendations in general, and you see, like, thousands upon thousands of people recommending this book, and you're like, maybe I should try this book. Girly pop. No, because that's how I got stuck with Hitched. And that was weird, okay? So do not trust all these book recommendations on TikTok, because some people out there just have weird tastes. And Fairytale is literally one of them. And if you go on TikTok and you search up Fairytale by Veronica Lancet, you will see all of these recommendations of people like, please read Fairytale, blah, 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 blah. I read the whole book from September 22nd to September 27th. So I gave it a shot. I gave it a real shot, okay? Not like how I did with One Dark Window. I didn't even finish the book, okay? But Fairytale, I gave it a real shot. And let me tell you, it is a 1-star review. Straight up, girl. Let's read it, because I left a review on Goodreads. It starts off with, oh, this book. I discovered it from TikTok, and I thought to myself, why not try it? TikTok has never let me down. Well, it did. The book was so long, obnoxiously long. I felt like so many parts could have been cut out. I loved it for the first 1/3 and hated it the rest. Not to mention, I had to skip a bunch of parts out of boredom. The end felt rushed, so rushed I didn't enjoy it. I think it's an interesting concept, but I didn't like the storyline. I hope others can enjoy it though. So, there you go, girlfriend. I didn't like it. Sorry. There is one book on here that I haven't put on here, and I'm kind of upset I haven't put it on here. Quicksilver. I read Quicksilver. That is 3 stars. That's one of those books where, like, the first 2/3 I was bored out of my mind, and I did skip a lot of parts. Mostly the parts I skip are more like the descriptive parts where I don't feel like I need to know all this information, and I felt a lot of it was just a filler. A lot of it needed to be edited out, in my personal opinion. I know it got a lot of love, and I'm so thankful for that author, but I did not enjoy it. So if you DNF'd it and you kind of feel bad about DNFing it, and you're feeling like, all these people love it, like blah 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 blah, girl, no. Girl, bye. DNF that book. Literally, I was talking to some girl on Threads about it. She's like, I really want to DNF it, but I don't think I should. I'm like, please join the club of the people who either finished it and just didn't like it, or just DNF'd it. So that's my personal opinion. 3 stars. It got better at the end. I do want to say that. It does get better at the end, but if it's taken you a month to read the book, just don't read it. That's just my opinion. So I guess I read 34 books. Because I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. Okay, the next book I read was Between Love and Loathing, which is book 2 in the Hardy Billionaire Brothers series by Shannon Rose. I also found this book off of TikTok because it was like a little blurb, not like someone's opinion of reading it. And I really liked that little blurb. See if I can find it. But she's like going on a shopping spree or something for her bakery, and she spends so much money, and then he gets this like phone call, and it's like, sir, did you authorize the purchase of like blankety blank and blankety blank, and she spent so much money. And he was like, yeah, don't worry about it, it's just my fiance throwing a temper tantrum, or like my future wife throwing a temper tantrum. That's the whole reason why I read the book. I gave it 3 stars, but now that I'm looking at it, excuse me, it doesn't have a lot of good stars. So yeah, but honestly I think it's just to read it like if it's your cup of tea. Like, it's enemies to lovers, like serious enemies to lovers in my brain. The spice level is not that spicy, and I read some spicy books, but if you think that's spicy, I think you need to expand your spiciness level. But I didn't really like it. Sorry, I move a lot, I have issues. So I also feel like I read so many books, I kind of know what's going to happen at this point. Like, now they're all kind of like similar to one another. So like when it came to the big mystery of this book, like I already knew what it was. Not to say the first 2 books weren't good, okay? The last book no. But it was good. The first 2 books were good. So the first book is called A Vow of Deception. I give it 4 stars, okay? I think you should read the first book. That is my recommendation. The second book in this series is called Twisted by Deception. That was 5 stars. I also think you should read that book. Once you get to the second book, I think you should cut your losses and go, because the third book, which is called Consumed by Deception, I give it 2 stars. Which one would I read? Consumed by Deception or Fairy Tale? This one. I would read Consumed by Deception again. So yes, there's that for you. And then the last book I'm going to talk about is A Twisted Arrangement, which is Twisted Vows number 2. I read this book twice in 2024. Let's talk about this. I started it September 25th and stopped reading it December 8th. Because I DNF'd it and I was like, I'm done with this. And then I started it December 8th again and DNF'd it December 19th. I gave it 3 stars though. Because I don't like DNFing books and then not giving them ratings. Like, it makes me feel some type of way. Like, I want to be respectful. So I like to give them a rating. So, thank you for listening about all 34 books that I read in 2024.